if you're working all the time, you could have this feeling, I'm working, the more I work, the less I make.
Right.
All right, because you're not charging enough.
Can anybody relate?
Hey, plumbing pros, welcome to the 463rd episode of Potty Talk. As always, I'm your host, Richard Behney, the $1 Million Plumber, and lucky enough to have my co-host, the lovely Laura, sitting right next to me here. It's good to have you here, sweetheart. In this episode of Potty Talk,
Yes.
I'd like to discuss how to maximize plumbing profits here in 2025.
Profits, that's a bad word.
And specifically, your plumbing profits. All right?
Okay.
So profit is a bad word. It's
That's
a
what some
four-letter
people
word.
think. Some people think it's
It's
a
a four-letter word.
Mhm.
I think it has it 5 or 6 letters. I don't know.
that's good.
Okay, but that's what we're going to be talking about. So if you're interested, or maybe you're making enough money, I don't need any more. So this, you know.
Yeah, move on. This
Okay,
is not for you.
All right, this isn't for you.
Or you don't care about profit.
Right.
Dead man plumbing.
Well, yes, but if you do care about profit, you're looking to make more money with your plumbing business. All right, stick around. All right,
Okay.
you're not going to want to miss what I'm going to go over here.
Okay.
All right. Hey, but before we do, hey, I want to share something with you. This is a very powerful business tool that will help you build your plumbing business. Check it out. Looking for a reliable way to order plumbing, HVAC, electrical products, and more online? Look no further than supplyhouse.com. Supplyhouse.com is your go-to site for all your supply needs. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Shop a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands. Plus, with fast shipping from coast to coast, your order will be delivered right to your door. Need help with an order? No problem. Get expert support and industry-leading service from the friendliest folks in the business. Talk to a real person every time. Pros in the skilled trades can get a competitive edge by joining SupplyHouse.com's free Trade Master program. As a Trade Master, you get access to a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Join the thousands of trade pros already benefiting from their free membership at supplyhouse.com/TM. So, what are you waiting for? Order plumbing, HVAC, electrical supplies, and more from anywhere with just a few clicks at supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. That's supplyhouse.com. All right, there we go. Okay. Well, let's get into building your plumbing business. Okay.
And for profit.
And for profit. That's a thing there.
That is a
all right.
thing.
Was it if
It's the thing we kind of forget about sometimes.
Right.
Yeah, I should make a profit.
right? This isn't a hobby.
This is not a hobby.
Okay. It can feel like that though, right? All right.
Or it's not a charity.
Okay.
Not
In
a
fact,
charity either.
when we started our plumbing business, when it first started, it's like I made more money, working for the other guy. I had all these, get in this thing, I was going to make more money because that's the reason why I started my plumbing
work
business.
less.
Right. In the work life, right. Can you relate to this? Instead of making that guy money, I'm going to, I'll just do my own thing here and I'll keep more money myself.
How hard can it be?
Right.
Seriously. I mean, it's a plumbing. I know plumbing. How hard can this business be?
And that's exactly right. And I found out, I was making more money working when I was, working for the other guy here. Okay. All right. But, okay, you're supposed to be making money.
Supposed to be making money and making a profit for you.
Right. And if you do these things, okay, you do these things, I guarantee you, you'll double, well, we see it, you'll double, even triple, okay, your profits here in the next 30 days. Okay, so listen up here.
Yes.
Okay, do it. All right.
Yep.
Okay, number one.
Yes.
Okay?
What do you got?
Number one, plug the leaks before you pour more water. Okay, I started with a kind of a plumbing thing there.
Kind of did. I saw what you did.
I can relate to that.
Okay.
Okay, so you got, if I'm pressurizing up, a water system, and I have water leaking out, I'm not going to be able to pressurize it up. Okay, it's a waste.
Okay.
I'm just wasting stuff.
I'll take your word for it.
Okay, all right. I'm just going to go. A lot of times we think we're losing money. Okay, we're losing money because we're slow or I don't have enough calls, enough work.
I just need more calls. That's
Right.
all I need is more calls.
Well, that's all. I mean, we work with clients all the time. In fact, one of our best coaches, had a multi-million-dollar plumbing business. Had 24, 26 trucks. But wasn't making any money. In fact, the last year when he finally signed up with the Success Academy and $1 Million Plumber, all right, he made what, $1,400, something like that.
For the year.
For the year.
That was his profit.
Made $1,400 profit. Okay, we're talking about wanting more profit. Okay. Okay. Well, it turns out
Well, it turns out his business is really a not money laundering.
No,
not laundering like that. But it was like
it was a money flushing.
Money flushing because tons of money was coming in.
It was just leaking.
Yeah.
Okay, it was leaking money, and one reason. Okay, and this is not just was with him, but it's with you as well. Okay, all right, is not knowing your numbers, not knowing your costs. Okay, in MDP we call it your honest hourly rate.
Right.
Okay,
we talk about this a lot, but we always want to keep hitting on this because some of you just aren't getting it.
Right.
So that's why we keep talking about it.
Okay, you don't know what it costs you to operate. Okay, so you're leaking. So it doesn't matter whether you can be working all the time. In fact, if you're working all the time, you can have this feeling: I'm working. The more I work, the less I make.
Right.
All right, because you're not charging enough.
Can anybody relate? Drop it in the comments.
Right.
Let us
If you
know.
can relate to that, look right. Okay. And if you recognize that, you're already on the way being successful.
Right.
Okay. But here's what you got to do. Okay. You got to know all your costs. Okay. You got to know your numbers, not just the cost that, okay, I'm doing this water heater job. So I got a water heater and I got the electric unions and I got this much time I'm going to spend, whatever, not just direct costs,
Correct.
the whole cost to operate your plumbing business. Okay. You got to know your numbers.
Yep.
Okay.
Numbers don't lie.
That's one of the first places where we can see, where both just not leaking, it's sinking. It's right now. Okay,
It's the Titanic.
right.
You've hit an iceberg.
But you're not as big as Titanic to give enough time for all the water to come in. You're in a little dinghy. Okay, so the water's there now when you're not charging enough. Okay, you're sinking. Okay, and that's why you're sinking. Okay. You got to plug that leak. Know your numbers. The next leak, hole you got to plug here. All right, is you're driving all over town for free estimates. Okay.
Well, I have to. My customers want free estimates. It's the wrong customer.
You're driving your life away. Okay. You're a dead man driving. Okay. You're not charging for that time. That money's just leaking out because it costs you so much, as we learn, in the Success Academy. There's an hourly cost to having your plumbing business. Okay, and I'm doing this. If you're listening, you hear me snapping. You're listening to podcasts. If you're watching.
Doing that.
Okay, all right. Because that's what it's cost you every second, every minute, every hour. Okay, there's a cost whether you're working or not. Okay, all right. And so when you're driving all over town trying to get work, really what you're doing is you're handing everybody $100 bills. When you're giving a free estimate, you're not giving them an estimate. You're saying, "Oh, here's $100."
Yep.
Oh, well, and
I'm not valuable.
Right. And then you drive to the next house. Here's $100. Then you drive to the next house. Here's $100. Okay. That's exactly what you're doing.
Yep.
You must plug that leak. Okay. Stop with the free estimates.
Stop.
Okay.
Stop with them.
Okay. And then finally, there's not finally, but one of the big places that we wind up losing are just we're leaking. So that's the word I'm looking for. That we're just leaking money is with our stock and materials. Okay. For one, I'll hit first of all having so much stock. Okay, we think
money's sitting on
right.
Shelves.
Just we have to have our own supply. We have our own shop. Right. So I have all this stock. Okay, that never gets used, by the way. But all that's just is money just sitting on the shelves. Okay, or so we have too much stock, or we don't have the right stock, like in our trucks. Okay.
Yeah, ready to do the work when you're there.
Exactly. So we're losing by having to go to the supply house.
Time is money.
Exactly. All right. So we're losing that way. Then also in what we're charging. This is the biggie, because there's always loss with stock, whether it's actually being crunched, it's broken, or warranty, or what. There's always loss with stock. But a lot of times when we start out, we charge for our materials, we'll add on like 30-40%. So if we buy something for $100,
I don't think most people do that.
I
really don't.
Well, I was going to say they'll do that, but they're thinking when they do that, it's like I'm really charging for this.
Right.
It is most amount, but you almost pass through what it costs you for your materials. Okay, and most of the time you're not even accounting for all the materials that it costs you. Okay, and so you're just losing tremendously. That is one of the biggest places. That even right now with our clients, we get right to that and handle that issue right away, and that you account for and charge for your stock and your materials in the right way. All of a sudden, profits show up. As well they should.
You got to charge for everything. Everything matters. I mean, again, we talked about this in the Success Academy. Your honest hourly rate, the calculator that you get right away in the Success Academy, identifying everything it costs or everything that's involved in running your plumbing business. Everything. I mean, the tools that you buy, that's an expense. If you put down like a rug or something in your customer's home where you're doing work, that costs money, right? Who's paying for that? You? Are you paying for that out of profit? No, of course not. Your customer's paying for that. The gas that you put in the truck, whatever, every little thing. I mean, take a look around. Everything you've spent money on for your plumbing business, somebody has to pay for that. And it should not be coming out of your profit.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Profit is extra. The profit is extra.
And there should be profit.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Anyway.
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay.
What we're talking about is profit.
Right.
Profit's a good thing.
How to make more profit here in 2025. If you're listening to this, outside of 2025, we're evergreen here, okay? in the next 12 months, how to make more profits here in the next 12 months. And it's easy, okay? And the first step is stop the leaks, all right? Before you even pour more money in, you got to stop the leaks. We get that as plumbers, okay? So stop the leaking of not accounting for all your expenses and for all your time and for not charging enough, okay? That includes the profits, right? Okay? So that's number one, right. All right, number two, all right, in increasing your profits here within the next 12 months, okay, is to upsell with integrity and watch your average ticket soar.
Okay.
By upselling, I know that's also another thing. We feel like, and I'm not talking about selling, okay? You don't have to sell. I'm not a fan. You don't, I remember the first selling, I hit on this. You don't have to sell. I know that's, the plumbers, we don't want to sell anyways or whatever. And we feel like we got to sell. And so we got these sales gurus out here trying to how you sell. I remember the first one I heard for plumbing, it was, and I'm not going to say the name, but it was a very big name. And a lot of the big companies, especially with Nexstar and all, were going with this kind of program. But it all felt dirty. It's like, and then you can go out for the toilet, but then you want to tell them about water quality, and we get them into the water stuff. Ooh, that's more money there, and all that. And how you get it was like manipulating the customer. I'm not talking about manipulating the customer.
No.
Okay. You don't have to manipulate the customer. No one wakes up in the morning, wants to call a plumber. They called you. They're already sold. The opportunity's there. We're the ones that blow it, okay? But by upselling, so what are some of the ways that I mean by upselling, okay? Which you can watch your profits grow. Your average ticket will grow by doing these things. You'll see your average ticket grow, which is, and then if you count for all your costs, which, and everything, your profit's growing, right? Okay? Well, one of the things you do is providing options. Okay, not broke fix. Okay,
and sometimes we just kind of gloss over that. Broke fix means I'm going into Mrs. Jones' house. This is broken. I'm going to fix it. This is broken. I'm going to fix it. That's the broke fix mentality, and that is killing your plumbing business, and it's killing you having profit. It's killing it.
Exactly. So I'm just going in there, and that is what it is.
That's what she wants. Right. She just wants me to fix it. She just wants me to fix it. Okay. That's more than likely not true.
Oh. Okay. And so by giving the options, and you don't have to sell, but it's options, and there's the right way of providing options, okay? And there's a process in doing that, and it's a simple process in doing that. But providing options gives the customer choice, okay? You don't have to sell. You don't need special words, okay? But you just do it in this simple way, all right? You don't need special words, some sales song and dance. The customer, by just working a way that makes the customer feel comfortable, by giving the customer choice, okay, and seeing things, you'll see that a lot of times, we call it the Goldilocks syndrome, okay? All right, this one's too hot, this one's too cold, but this one's just right. Well, this one's too expensive. Well, I don't want to go cheap. Well, this is just right, which is your average ticket go up.
Customer.
I mean, it's a beautiful thing, okay, and it's that simple.
Psychology.
Right, okay.
And options. You like options, right? When you go somewhere to shop or to whatever, car wash is always a great one. You pull into the car wash place, and normally they've got 3 options. You can get it with regular, or you can get it with the super suds, or you can get it with the super suds plus the wax, whatever, right? So there's options. Well, some people are going to do the regular because that's in their budget or what they're comfortable with, or they don't really care about the super suds and the wax, right? Others I want all of it. I love my car, my truck, whatever it is, and I'm going to take care of it. And by golly, I'm going to get every little thing. And when I go through the car wash, I want to see all the lights and whistles and all the things and all the different colors of the suds coming in, right? I want to see all those things. Again, every customer is different. When you go to buy a TV at Walmart or Best Buy or whatever, there's not just one TV. Well, Best Buy has decided that the 48-inch TV is the exact right size for everybody. Everybody should have a 48-inch TV. Best Buy has decided.
Right.
Well, no, right? Some of you guys, 48-inch, you're like, no way. It's way too small. But I mean, we did just get a new TV. We just moved into a new house. And we got
my TV's twice as big as this. And then some. Yeah.
It's a drive-in theater. Basically, if a car would fit into our living room, I think this would be a drive-in.
And I had choices with that.
We did. Right. We have choices with that. Yeah. Anyway, so you guys know, some of you though may say, well, my budget is really a 36-inch TV, or my wall space or whatever is 36-inch. Doesn't matter. You've gone to Best Buy or wherever, and you want the choice. You want the choice of being able to decide what's best for you.
See, Best Buy didn't have to sell me that big TV. I wanted that. I mean, I was looking at TVs, and when I saw that, I wanted that. And your customer does the same thing when you provide options. Right. So that's how your average ticket and your profit grows. Okay, you didn't have to sell. You didn't need your text that needs a special words, overcoming objections, and some song and dance, and how to no. It was a simple way of providing options in the right way. The customer is in control, which is giving you control, by the way, ultimate control. And then they make the choice, okay? And it's simple psychology. I call it the Goldilocks syndrome. Again, this one's too hot, this one's too cold, but this one's just right. Right. And that's the way customers behave. Right.
So don't treat your customers based on what you might be able to afford or what you're comfortable with.
Right.
Right. This is their house. This is their decision. You're the professional going into their house. Give them the options, and not in a way where you're pushing one or the other. Just be a professional. You're the professional plumber. More than likely, you've heard this a million times, your customer's going to say, well, what would you do in your home, right? Then be honest. Don't say, well, I'd go with the super duper because blah, blah, blah. No, be honest. Be honest with them. Give them the reasons for each of the choices, and then let them decide. And if you have training your plumbers to have confidence in how to provide those options, or to know what's the benefits of the different options. And that's where it comes, you plumbing business owner, in training your technicians, so they do that in the customer's home. Then the customer doesn't feel painted in a corner. If you just do one thing, I'm going out on a leaking toilet or a running toilet, right? Well, it's just the flapper. Flapper needs to be done. So I'm going to go in and it's broke. I'm going to fix it. Well, maybe the toilet's really old and the customer doesn't want to put any money in, or shouldn't put any money into the toilet because it's 15 years old, it's limed up, it doesn't flush, whatever. You're the professional. Take a look and say, man, this is a 15-year-old toilet, Mrs. Jones. Here's what we could do. We can replace the flapper, and that's going to give you this, or we can do what we call a toilet rebuild and change all the parts on the inside, and it's going to give you this. Or your toilet's kind of on the last leg, and we live in an area where there's hard water and it's limed up, and what I would recommend is replacing the toilet. And here's what it's going to give you, whatever. Give her that information and then let her make the decision. It's so simple. I mean, when we talk about it, it's just like, well, duh. Well, yeah. But you've got to go in with confidence and with knowledge for the options. Exactly.
Well, you sound like a plumber there, sweetheart. Well, who's the plumber here?
You've trained me well, baby.
It ain't about plumbing, though, right?
That's
it's
right.
just, which lets, by just giving the options.
Look, hold on. Can I say, what? Let me say something. Because I know some ladies watch, right? Maybe if you work with your husband, you guys started a plumbing business together, and you answer the phones or whatever, and you're hearing me spout off what I just spouted off. Trust me when I say, when we started our plumbing business and 3 little kids and all the things, I would answer the phone for Attaboy, and I was clueless, absolutely clueless. Now, I learned through osmosis over the years. Do I know a lot about plumbing? No, I do not. I know some basic things, but I just want to give you confidence. If you're hearing me say all this, you're like, well, crap, I can't answer the phones because I don't know anything about plumbing. And here, she knows everything about plumbing. She does not know everything about plumbing. Trust me. You'll just learn through osmosis. But again, over the phone, you're giving them confidence that you can get a plumber out who does know about plumbing. So
Right.
anyway, sorry to.
And again, the options had nothing about, really little to do about plumbing, other than it's offering plumbing solutions up,
Right.
okay? But it was dealing with the emotion of where the customer was at. And we don't, that's the thing, we don't know where the customer is at.
Right.
So us going in and saying, this is all you're gonna get, and us feeling like, well, I fixed your problem, or whatever.
Right.
Well, the customer said maybe willing to say, I don't want to have to deal with that toilet anymore.
Correct.
Okay. These are the things, this kind of mindset is getting in the way of increasing your profits. Okay. Another point is it leads to, you've got the customers happy, he's made the choice. Okay. And that's what I was thinking when you mentioned the Best Buy. This actually happened to me. I didn't go with the best. Remember, even with the big TV, and the lovely Lord was there with me, and she just couldn't. She was just smiling because I was just, guys, I got the big and the sound and everything.
All the things.
Okay,
All the things.
but I didn't go with the super duper. If you remember, he had the big sound package or whatever. I got it mounted in the ceiling, and behind it, it's like a movie. I mean, it's
Yeah.
okay.
We never have to go to a movie theater ever again.
And it was okay. It's my why, and for those in the academy, you'll understand that what I just said. Okay, but where I'm at right now, this is my why. Okay. Okay. And so, I didn't go with the big sound bar package or whatever. Okay.
We didn't? What we got was pretty
Well, that's
big.
the point. And because they said this is more for your size of room. I mean, I kind of went overkill. I didn't, just,
Really? You?
I was getting, yeah.
That's so shocking
The biggest whatever.
do that.
But he downsold me. I got the medium. I didn't go cheap or whatever. And it wasn't like he still was good, made good money. So, but he didn't have to sell. He just said, this is what I would use based on the sound. Cause this is kind of
Size of your house.
size of your house or whatever. And he goes like, this is what's in my house. And this is, so I like, okay. So I went with that. So he built that trust, but he wound up selling me more. He made more money off me than going with the big package, because now I felt really good about this. And he says, well, what about the pool sound? So we got the pool. I got the pool surrounded with I got the whole, it sounds like an outside studio around the pool.
So not only do we have this massive drive-in theater with speakers everywhere and all the things, but at the same time, we now have out by our pool all the more surround.
But that's our lifestyle and that's our thing.
That's
right. Okay. But it worked that way, which leads into this idea of selling more, okay, and increasing your profits is doing plumbing inspections. Okay. How you can raise, increase your average ticket, credibly, okay, with integrity, is by offering, a plumbing inspection. All right. And you should do plumbing inspection professionalizes you, and you use it for, other things as well. So you should do a plumbing inspection. But when you go around the plumbing inspection, you are going to find something, and you are going to have something to offer up. There's a way to do that, okay? But once they've already opened their wallet, Mrs. Jones already opened her wallet on the first thing.
The original thing that she called.
Right. There are some that are, okay, I'll go ahead and I'll take that. I'll go ahead and do that. Examples, you ever take your car, your truck to get to oil change, okay? And they always come in and show you the filter. Well, here's your filter. There's some dirt here and all that, okay? And they show you, here's a liquid of your power steering fluid and what.
blah, 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 blah,
That's the upsell. So they've inspected. They've checked these other things, which makes them feel like good for the service. That's why you should be doing a plumbing inspection, because it makes your customer feel like you're actually doing something too.
You're looking at other parts of my car.
Right. Okay.
Or truck.
All right. But you're going to come back and offer something. Well, the oil change places know what we know and what you would discover if you do this. 30% of the customers will go with what you offer up, which increases your average ticket for the job. Okay. So I do this. I would take the car. Okay. The first time I'll say no, but the next time,
To the air filter.
yeah, I say yes. All right. Your customers do the same thing.
Right.
Okay. So performing plumbing inspections. Okay. All right. And then finally, there's other things to do, but memberships are big. Okay.
Which you got with Best Buy. Wasn't there, if you joined the Best Buy something, la, la, la.
It gave me a percentage off,
Right.
which is, that's our game. So I know exactly how the game's playing, but I went ahead and did the membership, okay? Because it got me a discount, and that's what memberships or maintenance programs are. They're not taking care of the plumbing mechanicals. Well, yes, we take care of the plumbing. Okay, we do it. Okay, but it's a sales tool. Okay, that systemizes your sales process. That makes it easy for your customer and for your tech. So you don't have to be a sales. Your tech doesn't have to be a salesman. You don't need a salesman. You just do these kinds of things. Well, membership, up front will provide a discount. Okay, all right, which sells that job right then. All right, that's one reason I went with the biggie. I got a discount. It's like, ooh, there's more. I wound up spending it. I got a discount. Okay, but then it positions them now to come back. Okay, and then say, hey, we got a special on this kind of stuff and this kind of stuff. Well, the same thing with your membership. You're going to give a plumbing inspection. Okay, and water heater, drain and flush, or that kind of a thing.
Twice a year.
So you get back in the house, you're gonna, with the plumbing inspection, you're gonna offer things up, and you're gonna find out that 30% of the customers after that situation will go with whatever it is you said, offer up, and there you are. Okay,
Right.
Increases your profits. See?
Huh?
All right, simple thing.
There's a message. That's not the word I'm looking for.
There's a method?
Method, yes.
Method to the madness. See? Huh? All right, it's beautiful. These are simple things to do, okay? With integrity, okay? You don't
Right.
it's not like you're ripping anybody off or anything
No.
like. In fact, it even makes you look more professional, okay?
Yes.
That will increase your profits, okay? You got to do it, okay? And then next,
Hold on. Before we go there, would love to get a review, a like, a follow, a thumbs up, something, whatever platform you're listening or watching us on. We would really appreciate it. You guys know how reviews work and how algorithms work and all the things. But right now, if you're watching on YouTube, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and then make sure you get notified whenever we have a new episode dropping, because you never want to miss an episode of Potty Talk. So there you go.
Exactly.
Thank you.
yes, as we say, share the love, okay? Help us get the word out. Appreciate you guys, all right? Okay, here, my third point here.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we're talking about increasing your profits here. Okay, here in 2025 or beyond, in the next 12 months here. Okay, in fact, if you do these things, you'll see your profits. We've seen it double, even triple, by just doing these things within 30 days.
Yes.
Okay, these are simple things to do. All right, if you just do these things. Okay, next we have, all right, profits start with a process.
Okay.
Okay, not just more work. Okay, more work does not mean more profit. Okay.
Typically, it means less.
Exactly, especially if you haven't
We're not
done,
doing it right.
if you have these leaks and you haven't put these other things in place. Okay, we've seen it now hundreds of times. Okay, we experienced it. You're probably experiencing it. Okay, it's not more work. We think I just get more work. In fact, that's why we get we just get wore out, beat up. All right, because we think I need to work more, and that's why we're working weekends and nights, and that's why we got to do on call and emergency. Okay, I got to get
Right, and more than likely what's happening, you're getting so busy, I'm getting more calls,
right.
and now we're just running through the jobs instead of doing what we just talked about, providing options and really providing a service to your customer. You're feeling busy, and so we got to hurry up and get through these calls. No, that's the worst thing that you can possibly do.
Right, and so profit really starts with a process. Okay, having processes and systems in place. Okay, that create profit just doesn't happen. Okay, it's created. Okay, so one of the systems that have in place is a field management system.
Yes.
Like a field pulse, or a service titan, that kind of a thing. Okay.
And if you don't have a field management software right now with your plumbing business, you got to get something. You got to get something. Field Pulse is the one that we highly recommend, because really you're their avatar. You're the perfect avatar. Where Service Titan really caters more to the larger plumbing companies. Service Titan is a great whatever, but they're super expensive. They're really, really expensive. And then we've partnered with Field Pulse, and they've got a great product for the smaller guys. But you can grow into it as your plumbing business grows. You can use it. Grow to a 50 truck company, you can use Field Pulse. But if you're not using something, you're missing out, because you're not systemized. How are you keeping track of your customers? Is it on Post-it notes? Is it on a Google Sheet or a Google Calendar or whatever? That is no way to run a plumbing business. That is the most unprofessional way to run a plumbing business. And there's no excuse for it anymore. There's not an excuse. There's also a House Call Pro and a few other ones that are super cheap. Whatever. But there's no excuse. There's no excuse not to use some sort of professionalized field management software.
Exactly, and if you're not, you're losing customers, and the customers you don't realize that you are losing. You're still losing profits on the jobs that you are going out on. Okay, because it's being mismanaged. You're losing time. You're losing track of of the work stuff. You don't even know what you're losing track of.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's having a field management system in place, systemizing that, systemizing the way you take the jobs and dispatch the jobs. We talk about triaging the jobs. prioritizing the jobs for profit.
Prioritize for profit.
Okay, that's a system on how I receive those jobs and how I know what jobs I have and which jobs I want to prioritize. So we have that in place. It's just not something I'm willy-nilly every day. You know, what jobs I have today? Okay, what work we're going to do? You know, I've worked for companies like that. You know, come in, it's just like they themselves don't even know what we're doing.
Well, this call came in first. We need to go to them first.
Right.
Or, you know, and then you go in order of however they came in. And one may be on this side of town. The second call that came in is on the other side of town. The next call is on the other side. And you're not paying attention. And that's certainly one way. But then looking at what kind of job is it? You know, you want to make sure that you're going to the high profit jobs first. It's a professional plumbing company. And we talk a lot about that in the Success Academy, because that's something that's a mindset change that you really need to get over. And we go over that in detail in the Success Academy.
Because the Success Academy, we're working really on your mindset, on how to properly look at things as a businessman, a CEO, as opposed to a technician, craftsman, okay? Which nothing wrong with that. It's got you to here, but that's not what's going to make your business.
That's not your role.
That's not going to make your business successful. And then what systems to have in place. Like you've got to systemize these different things so that they run on their own, so that you can scale.
Right.
Scale and grow, okay? But again, even at a minimum, systemizing certain things, like having a system in place like triaging the jobs, that's how you increase your profits. That's how you fill the holes of leaking, okay? By not triaging, you're losing. The other way, you're losing. By not triaging and prioritizing your jobs for profit, you're losing thousands weekly.
Yes.
Thousands weekly, okay?
And those thousands is your profit.
Yes. Okay, so that's an important system in place. And then there's systemizing what we call your SOPs, your standard operating procedures. Okay, and having that systemized so that the business knows, everyone knows, okay, how do we do different things? Okay, how do we hire? How do we fire? How do we train? How do we, and there's a training system process for when you bring a guy on, from the time, from all the way from the hiring, when you're talking with them, the recruiting, to the interview, to the hiring, bringing on board, training. I mean, that's a process, a system. It's not a willy-nilly thing.
It shouldn't be a willy-nilly thing. It should be something that is totally systemized, because as you're growing, you're going to need to hire more technicians, and you're going to lose some. Some quit, you have to fire, whatever, because you're a marketing company and you're a recruiting company. How many times have you heard that? But you need to have a full system so that when it's time to hire, you don't have to think, okay, shoot, I've got a new technician starting. What are all the things I need to do? Let's see, he needs uniforms, he needs a phone, what else? I can't remember, whatever. Those are all the things that should be in your SOPs, in your standard operating procedures, so that when you grow and you've got a GM that's running your shop, and you're on vacation, hopefully for a couple weeks, and he needs to hire, he knows how to do it. He knows, okay, we're super busy, or I just lost a technician, or whatever it might be. Here's all the things that I need to do to get someone hired or get someone trained. All that information is there. If not, then he's calling you, hey, Sam just quit and we need a technician. What do I do? Well, okay, you're on vacation with your family, down here in Florida at Disney, and standing in the long lines and paying $20 for a hot dog. You're like, okay, well, make sure you got to get him a uniform, and you got to get him a cell phone, and you got to all the things, right? That's stupid. That's silly. So those are the types of things that you need to have in place as the business owner, and you're the only one in the beginning who knows how to do it. And so putting those in your standard operating procedures, that's you. That's putting you and how you want things done, because it's your business, in an operating procedure, so that others on your team know how to do it the way you want it done. And it can operate without you. Correct. Okay. Time is money. Time is, so when the systems come back, or people got to come back and ask, how do you do this? And we were down, and we don't have the new tech is still sitting around, an extra day instead of in a truck making money. That's lost money, lost profit. And he's frustrated. Right. Okay. And then he quits. Okay. Because there's not a system there. So that was lost money, lost profit. Yeah, because he didn't have confidence. There was expense there. Okay. So systems is what produces profit. Correct. And we go over that a lot in the Success Academy, because that's something, people will say when they start with MVP, or they reach out. I need systems in place. So you intuitively know I need to have systems so that I can scale this thing and get me out of the truck or get me out of the day-to-day or whatever. But we talk about that a lot in the Success Academy, because it is a mindset change from what you're used to. I mean, again, you were more than likely a plumber at another shop. You weren't trained in how to do it. Maybe where you came from, they had decent systems. You can glean from that. But for the most part, you weren't trained in that. So
right.
Yeah, we cover that a lot.
You're taught how to be a great craftsman, great plumber.
Exactly.
You weren't taught business. Okay. And so if you are there, that's what, if I know you're there. Okay. If you need just to learn more, check out my school community.
Yes.
All right. I got the school community.
We do have a brand new school, SK.
Free.
Yes, free. Thank you. SKOOL School, which is a platform where other businesses have communities and offer products, things like that. So we do have a brand new school community, and ours is free. So go to $millionplumber.com/school SKOOL and join for free. There's great training in there, lots of free training. There's a community of other plumbing business owners just like you that's looking at growing their plumbing business and learning the business of plumbing, which is exactly what we teach. We never talk plumbing on how to fix a toilet or water heater, new water heater, blah, blah, blah. We never talk that. We're teaching and talking the business of plumbing, because that's what you need to know. That's what we didn't know when we started a plumbing business, and we struggled for years. Because we didn't realize that we didn't know the business of plumbing. As Richard will tell you, he's the best plumber around. But that doesn't make a great plumbing business. It doesn't. And we learned the hard way. So it was years and years of that. So that's why we've got the Success Academy. That's why we put this together for people that were like us when we started, stupid and clueless. That was us.
Right on.
So if you're stupid and clueless, you're ready for the Success Academy.
And if you realize you're stupid and clueless,
That's
you're going to be
part of it.
successful. Okay, you're going to be successeful.
I mean that's a
Hey, because you got to know what you don't know. Okay.
Right. Yes.
All right. And if you are at the point where you're like, I'm just I want to learn this on steroids. I'm ready to go. Okay.
I want to talk to somebody.
I want to talk to somebody. Well, let's talk. I'm willing to talk with you. Okay. We're willing to talk with you. Go to $millionplumber.com/call and schedule. We'll have a conversation and get you pointing in the right direction. Okay. Or click the link, whether you're listening or there's a link here. Okay.
Yeah, there's links somewhere on whatever platform you're watching or listening.
But in any case, these are the things you can do, okay, to maximize your profits here in 2025.
And you're the business owner, and the profit is yours.
Yes. Nothing wrong with that. All right. It's very, 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 very good. Plumbing has been very, very, very good to us. Okay. You're sitting on a gold mine.
You are. Guys,
all right.
wake up.
If you put the right systems in place. Okay. You got to know where to dig, how to dig. All right. So there we go. Okay. Hey, it's good to have you here. This is another fun one. All right. Thank you, Miss Plumber. All right. You were dropping some nuggets of gold.
We've exhausted my knowledge of plumbing. That was it. That was all there is.
No. Tune in next time for dielectric unions. The lovely Laura will discuss dielectric unions. Okay.
That's a whole other story.
All right, there we go. But it's good to have you here. But before I let you go, as always, I want to remind you that you were purposefully and wonderfully created, and you were created to do great things. So plumb like a champion.
Bye, everybody.